Nedra Ginwright, and pleasure to be here. Thank you, Kate, for inviting me, and thank you, Orlin and Sylvie for that great opening. As I was kind of thinking about how I'm going to introduce or how I'm going to start, these two stories really connect to what I wanted to speak about today. And so I have this big sheet, so I may stray away from it a little bit. So I want to just first start by saying that I have recently decided that I will no longer give change or dollars to people who appear to be homeless. I've been asked several times, and I've made a decision that I no longer will give change to people that seem like they're in need. And I'm going to tell you why. I'll give a couple of stories as to why, but before I do that, I want to give some experience or tell you a little bit about my experience growing up. Grew up in San Diego in an urban community, single mother. I always felt like we never had enough. It was just a scarcity story. It was a story of always being in debt, always trying to pay bills, and there was never enough. I would want for things being an only child and never got to get them. Or I would always have the bargain version of it. I don't know if anybody is old enough in here to remember, but there used to be government cheese that they would give out, this big block of wax that they would give out. So we would stand in line for that. So I didn't feel poor, but I always felt like there wasn't enough. So I had this scarcity story. So I internalized that into my adulthood, and so I never wanted to, I've always been a giving person, but always wanted to make sure I kept just enough for, more for me and not enough to give out to other people. And so fast forward, the reason that I never give change anymore is, this was probably about a couple of years ago. My husband and I were going to the San Francisco Opera House on Van Ness. And for those San Franciscans know that parking is at a premium in San Francisco. So we get there kind of running a little bit late to get to the concert we were going to, and needed to find parking. So we going around the block, no parking, irritated, San Francisco, running late to the concert. So see a lot nearby, it's $20. And I'm like, yes, I brought some cash, I have $20, I get to park in this lot, not that far from the San Francisco Opera, got on my heels, don't want to walk far, so I'm going to park in this $20 lot. Cool. Go into the lot and circle around, and there is no parking. I'm like, damn it, I can't even pay to park here in San Francisco. This is ridiculous. So we leave the lot. I'm frustrated because I can't even pay to park in San Francisco, drive right in front of the San Francisco Opera House, and lo and behold, there is a free parking space. How in San Francisco there's a free parking space, I don't know. None of those crazy signs, can't park here Monday through Friday, full moon. None of those crazy signs were there. So we parked right there. And again, I'm happy now because don't have to hurt my feet, walking very far, free parking space, not gonna get ticket or towed. So going into the opera, there's a woman who appears to be homeless without shelter, and she asked me for some money. And so I'm a kind person, so I dig down in my purse looking for change. All I'm finding is mints and, a couple of pennies and leftover tissue. And so I say to her, I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't have any money. Apologize, and I start to walk off. And it was almost like spirit did like this to me and popped me in the back of my head and hit me in my heart. It was like, wait a minute, you were just about to spend $20 in a parking space so that you could be convenient and go to your San Francisco concert at the Opera House, but you cannot give that same $20 to this woman who just asked for that $20? And so started walking, and I backed up, and my husband was like, I know you're not about to give out $20. So it connects to your story about how we value money. Because I'm like, I can give change and I can give $1, but this 20 is not leaving my hand to go to somebody asking for money. So stopped in my tracks, and I gave her that 20, and it hit me. I'm like, wow, I just gave somebody $20, but what I reflected upon was, again, I was about to pay that. My value was that I was okay with paying $20 to park in a lot. It was because I didn't want to walk far, and it was to go to the Opera House. But again, I was not willing to take care of or to support or to give from my overflow to a human spirit. And it wasn't to me just about the money or the amount. I realized in retrospect, it was more about shifting values around things to humans, to spirits. It was about my connection. If she's hungry, then I'm hungry, because we all are connected. And so just a huge lesson and opening for me. So now, when I encounter need, that connection to people is ever so present to me. And so I have literally, and again, it's not about money, but have literally gone to the bank and taken out money intentionally, because I know I'm going to come across somebody in need. And it may not even be someone that's homeless. It may just be a friend. Or if I happen not to have money, giving and generosity is not just about resources, that type of money. My conversation is a resource. Hearing their story, sharing my story is a resource. So being able to give from that overflow and make those connections just to human spirits. And I'll tell one more quick story. I think I got a little time. I haven't gotten that flag yet. So in the spirit of giving, went to a grocery store one time. And again, I'm with the mindset that I got to give, blah, 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 be generous, do from your overflow. And this brother was outside, and he was like, hey, ma'am, can you spare some change? I said, I don't have any change. He was like, well, can you get me something from the grocery store? Sure. He said, a sandwich would be fine. And I'm rushing again. I'm always rushing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he wants a sandwich. That's easy. I'm going to go to that little ready-made area in the deli section, grab a sandwich, be on my way, grab whatever I need, be on my way. So I asked him, again, people want different types of sandwiches. I said, sir, what kind of sandwich would you like? And, I'm thinking turkey, ham, beef, whatever, still ready-made deli section. He said, I'd like a smoked turkey sandwich on a double crunch roll with mustard and no mayonnaise. Again, my first thought is, didn't your mama tell you beggars can't be choosy? Again, that's true. And then it hit me again. One, I asked him what he wanted, and he told me. Secondly, he definitely told me. Secondly, again, just because somebody is asking for something that's on the street that does not have the privilege that I have, doesn't mean that they don't want exactly what they want. If somebody asked me what I wanted, I would have said a smoked turkey sandwich on a double crunch roll with mustard and no mayonnaise. And so all of these stories for me just reflect upon and bring me back to recognize that I have privilege, just abundant privilege. That scarcity story that I had years ago, I had a house, I had food, I had love, I had conversation. All of that was there, and there is an abundance. And so I love the stories, hearing about when I walked and saw a book, and Kate, you can tell me what the name of it is, of a man that gave away everything. And I'm like, could I do that? Would I do it? I could do it, but would I do that? But again, it just brings me back to the fact that we have an abundance. We can live without all of these things, all of these distractions, and that less is more. So with that, I'm good. Thank you.